Welcome to Sipping with Maria and Tika G. We got to pay these bills, so let go. Here's a word from our sponsors. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosted on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free.
Whoop whoop!
Boop! Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Today. Welcome to Sipping with Maria and Tika G, where we do not talk about politics, religion, or celebrities. We feel like there are enough vlogs, and other podcasts that talk about that stuff. Welcome to season 2. Let's talk about it. We picked this topic so our listeners can feel comfortable with coming on our platform to express themselves without feeling like they're being judged. Also, Sipping with Maria and Tika G are looking for guests to be on the show. If you are interested, you may leave us a voicemail or fill out a guest request on our website at www.sippingwithmaria, the number 3, Tika G, TIKAGEE.com. To leave a voicemail, just click on the microphone in the lower right-hand corner. Hi, Tika. How you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful. And yourself?
I am doing good. I am doing good. Would you like to please introduce our guest for the evening?
Yes, our guest for the evening is Richard Blank. So, Richard, welcome.
Thank you, lady.
And you're welcome. And could you please tell us about yourself and the listeners and um, how you came to be on the show? We're very excited. So, um, you know, our listeners, I know they're waiting. So, take it away.
Absolutely. I can't thank you both enough for extending this gracious invitation to spend some time with you and your listeners. It's very easy. First and foremost, your artwork captivates, your podcasts entertain, and it inspires enough to touch base and reach out. And I had a wonderful conversation earlier today with Maria prior to this podcast in regards to just getting to know one another and preparing ourselves, because it's very nice to see how you two are taking this endeavor very seriously. You've created some amazing work, and obviously you're spreading a lot of love and good advice out there.
Thank
And the
you.
fact that we're not talking politics or other celebrities or things that you can see on other podcasts, it's actually quite refreshing. So once again, I'm very happy to be participating with your audience tonight.
Thank you, Richard. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, I do understand that you were CEO at the call center in Costa Rica. Can you please tell us about that call center and exactly what you do there?
Absolutely. I have been in Costa Rica for the past 22 years. I moved here at the age of 27. I'm originally a Philly boy, so this was a big long shot that paid off. And I had an opportunity to come here and work at a friend's call center for a couple months. And being here, I saw areas in which I could enhance the experience for the agents and for the clients. But you know what it is, ladies. I guess it took me until my mid 30s to be mature enough and to have my impulse control under a certain way where I would be able to move forward and start a business and be responsible. And I guess starting a business might seem complicated, and sure, there's a lot of facets to it, but if you believe in your people and if you start with your foundation of those that work with you, not for you, I think it'd be very easy to scale a company, because your attrition would go lower, people would be promoted from within, and obviously from the good work that you do, you'd be getting a lot of referrals. And so I've been in the industry for 22 years. I started my business 14 years ago, and I did it with my wife. In fact, I might be the owner, but she's the boss. So
That's usually how it works.
we do follow all the Costa Rican labor laws. So there's a lot of things that are different here than in the United States. So my wife is the legal representative of the company and works with the government agencies and just make sure everything is up to speed. In turn, I do the marketing, I do the training, and a lot of the times I do the motivating. If anybody has ever worked in telemarketing and call centers or customer support, it's an admirable position. You can do well. A lot of people assist many, but then again, you could also go through burnout. You could become tired, or you could just have that one day where the customer says the wrong thing and makes you want to quit. So
Been there.
those are some of the things that I focus and concentrate on in my business.
And that is very true. The whole burnout aspect of it. And I know it goes along with any job, but when you're dealing directly with people, sometimes, you can't ignore the attitudes or the hangups, or you want to start off having a positive day, but sometimes it just doesn't um go that way. But so Costa Rica, um, I had a friend, and she is like a previous coworker. She had this goal of moving to Costa Rica, just packing up and leaving, and she did. And we lost contact. She was showing me how beautiful it was. She sent me pictures for like a week, and then she said she was shutting down the cell phone and she was going, but it was just so beautiful. So I do want to actually go there to visit to see how it is.
I think I can understand your friend's point of view. If you can get past your parents' guilt, you can pretty much live
Right.
anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
right.
But mine goes back a
Facts.
little further, ladies. In high school, when I was in Northeast Philadelphia at Abington High School, I was focusing on Spanish. That was my favorite class, and I decided to double down on it when I went to the University of Arizona. So unlike my friends that went to Ivy League or studied medicine or law or other sort of vocations, I was more of a dreamer. I knew that being a good communicator and speaking a second language could open a lot of doors and give me certain opportunities, or maybe just make me more marketable.
Right.
So I would feel less, I would be more competitive in the market. But little did I know that that sort of passion and preparation assisted me in showing very good faith when I came here for the first time. I'm not sure about your friend Tika, but I myself, when I got here, I was able to show the local Costa Rican, the Ticos, the fact that I have invested a lot of my youth in education to learn their language. And so it assisted me in acclimating more towards this culture and having a better experience compared to certain people on vacation, or deciding, as you say, to dip their toe in the water and move abroad. But they might be expecting certain things that they were accustomed to in the United States, certain luxuries or certain expectations. And you have to realize that when you move abroad, ladies, there's a lot of times that the things that we hold most dear and value in the United States really aren't that important in other areas of the world. What they're focusing more on is the essence of the person, not the flashy stuff that you could show. And it's very humbling, but it's also very grounding, because if you're capable of living a life like that, where you're open-minded for other cultures and languages and traditions, you'll have a much more fulfilled life. And it's really assisted me, ladies, in regards to my vision quest and my spiritual journey.
I never been out of the country. I've been to New York, DC, Maryland, Florida. I'm from Georgia. Philly, I've been to Philly, and that's it. I'm very interested in going out of the country, but I'm afraid of heights, but I'm not afraid to go on a boat. I love water, so I can do the boat. I just can't do the airplane.
This is what I do know, Maria, that wherever you go, and I've seen you on Zoom on live camera, with that charming smile and with this positive energy and with the empathy that both you and Tika have, obviously you will be embraced wherever you go. And so just as long as you're brave and you take that first step, I think the world is your playground.
Thank you. I think I want to do like a mini trip first, a flight that only needs like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, no longer than an hour or two. So I'm definitely going to try something. Back to your call center. What exactly are y'all doing different blended things like, let's say, for example, infomercials, and you have a contract for someone else, or y'all are just doing one specific thing at your call center?
It's an extremely intelligent question, Maria. What I have is a dedicated center, which means that the agents we have only work for one specific client. There are other centers which are called blended or mixed centers that work multiple campaigns and have different agents there. It's more for an overflow if it's a smaller office that has calls that are sent there, or for people that are just looking to scale and ramp up with a limited budget. I work with companies in the United States, Canada, and a little bit of Europe, and it's half and half. We work half for inbound support. We also do non-voice omni-channel support in regards to chat and email support. I also have certain agents that are making outbound prospecting calls and lead generation appointment setting calls. But here's the thing. There's a lot of competition in Costa Rica, and there's a lot of options for these incredible bilingual agents. So for me, besides trying to fulfill the needs of the client, it's important that I can fulfill the need of the agent. Costa Rica is a little different than the States. It's a very strict Catholic country. And I have to ensure that what these young men and women do, that they can go home and tell their parents what they do for a living. So you can earn a living so many ways, Maria and Tika, but it's not necessary to compromise your ethics, values, and morals. I think you can do things with dignity. I think when you work in a certain environment, the boss should know your name and take the time to invest in you so you're on a level playing field, and given all the resources where there's just no surprises, so you are fearful or uncomfortable.
Right. And what I am learning, I'm glad you brought that up, when getting to know your agents or your employees is very important to me, because I don't want to be like Mr. Johnson, ABCD, and he like, and you are, I've been working for you for 10 years and you don't know who I am. You know, I have a problem with that as well. When I opened up my call center the first time, I closed it because of COVID. I knew every last one of my agents personally. It was like they were more than my employees. They were my friends. We talked, you know. I wasn't that boss that abused their authority, because I understand things happen, you know. You have bosses that abuse their authority, feel that they can talk to their employees any kind of way and they're supposed to accept it, even though everyone's grown or supposed to be grown. You go through that aspect. So I think I agree with that, knowing your employees, getting to know them and not treating them like a number, investing in them. I agree with that as well.
Well, Maria, I once again just met you, but I think we have so much in common. I believe that the way that the three of us were raised by our grandparents and grandparents was the old school way, right?
Right, yes.
So by being a North American, right, and I'm here as a guest in Costa Rica and also a boss, it's almost like having three strikes against you. And a lot of the times people will judge you on what happened at their last job with their last supervisor and their boss that, as you say, was not respectful. I do it a little differently. I believe in a gamification culture. So at least I can begin with a happy medium. Let me expand on that. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And I don't know about you ladies, but a show back in the day I liked was Silver Spoons with Ricky Schroeder. Kid had his own arcade and I wanted one myself.
I did
So
like that.
in Costa Rica, I go treasure hunting and I collect jukeboxes and pinball machines and retro arcade machines. And I'll drive a couple hours and kick a few tires. Next thing you know, I'm driving back in 1961 Ricola Regis for a couple $100s. My point being is that when somebody comes to the office, and instead of being by themselves or going outside and having a smoke or on Instagram, when they're in the game room, they can interact with individuals from other departments. They can let off steam. They can recharge their batteries, maybe hang out with their boss in a neutral environment. And ladies, I've even seen people fall in love by the Pac-Man machine. And if I can create a safe space for them to where they're playing games that they can't usually do at home, at least we can begin from there. And when you start making friends in a work environment, just doesn't have to be a call center. Chances are that you might not leave, right? Because you have that support group there. And but you should know somebody's name. You do give them their dignity. You do walk the rows and you stop and you say good job, but not just good job, Maria and Tika. Well, what did they do exactly? Did you listen to a call? Could you explain how Tika closed the deal or Maria saved?
Exactly. And see,
And
I'm sorry, I
go
didn't mean
ahead.
to cut you off. With my agents, I was on the phone with them.
Yeah.
I was on the phone like I was a regular agent, and it was funny because somebody wanted to speak to the supervisor. So I called one of the agents, put a little chat, who wants to be the supervisor for the day, and they would just supervise, allowed them to be the supervisor because of course of like, well, I want to speak to the supervisor and I go, I'm the supervisor, I'm not about to argue back and forth.
Maria, may I ask a follow-up question with that? When asking for a supervisor, was it more for a positive or a negative escalation call?
It was more of a little, how can I put this? It wasn't a bad call. It wasn't a great call either. It was more one of those calls where I'm trying to explain something because I know what I'm talking about. And this customer argued me down that I didn't know what I was talking about. And
Okay.
I had to re-explain the package to the customer on what they got. And basically, I didn't know what I was talking about. So they wanted to speak to a supervisor. So I allowed one of the agents to be my supervisor for that moment.
Were they able to do a first call resolution where once
Yes,
they
they
got on?
did.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
They were great.
Our main goal is a positive escalation to where, but besides the clarification that your client needed, and I'm glad that you resolved the issue. Our goal is that then they say, I just want to let you know Maria was so helpful, or Tika really did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get a verbal escalation, it's great. But if a client writes it and sends it in, then you're getting a bonus. Then you're getting a pizza. Then you're getting praise on the floor.
Love it.
These are the sort of focuses that we have here, so you can extend the best experience possible. It's, you know what, ladies, what happens, and you two are the polar opposite of this, that a lot of the times when people are too rehearsed, they become plastic, they become a print, and they lose their essence and being raw, so they're not a painting anymore. Where I believe that every single phone call is unique in itself. And if you're just hedging an answer by saying yes, okay, and not doing active listening or confirming things, it's really a subpar call. And so there's a lot of pressures at call centers, and you know this, Maria, running a call center.
Yes.
There are certain metrics that you have during the day where you're supposed to make 100 or 150 calls. I don't know. I'd rather be almost a non-commissioned painter where I'm not forced to do something under duress or time frames.
Exactly.
I have a certain thing I need to do, but instead of doing 100 calls, why don't you do 89 and spend an extra couple minutes on the phone talking about your dog Loco that's barking, and we might need to.
Yes, my
What a sweet
baby.
puppy. And those are the sort of anchoring moments on a call. It's not the pitch and the closing and the escalation to a supervisor. But when we were speaking earlier, Loco was acting a little loco, but I love dogs.
Me too.
And when you told me the name and you're giving him a haircut tomorrow and all this good stuff, I couldn't love you more. And so I think we bonded over that because we're both animal lovers.
Yes, we are.
And it also realized the empathy that we both had towards one another on a call, because most people are working from home and there are distractions, but that's okay, because those are the sort of things that if we can work through that, Maria and Tika, it's only going to make our relationship better. And I can tease you about Loco and everything's fun.
Yes.
And that's why, ma'am, you're going to be getting much, much more positive escalations because you took the time to be real. That's why I'm sipping with Maria and Tika. That's why.
Thank you. Thank
you.
And if we can keep that sort of attitude where no matter what happens at the end, your toes are still tapping, I think that's wonderful. And I see that. And as long, Maria, as long as you build this company, Tika, as long as you have this sort of mindset from within, from your foundation, from your amazing people that work with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be exceptionally successful.
Yes.
So do you because you have excellent um, people, skills and things like that. And mine, of course, is not from customer service. Well, I guess in a way it is because I'm a counselor. So my approach is a little different. I can't call my 2 o'clock client, hey, 2 o'clock client. I have to call them by their name. I have to identify them, have to know what a little background about what they're coming in for. So that is having, that skill to relate to someone. But do you see yourself, I know you are the CEO right now, and you've built your business, which has been excellent, and you've really been thriving. So do you see yourself going into different avenues or different ventures there where you are, or you have any other ideas in your head that's in the making? Or
I do. I'm going to definitely let this run happen as long as it goes.
of
But
course.
on a personal note, I'd like to start writing children's books
Okay.
and
Nice.
and maybe
Excellent.
practice my violin because I was really trying to impress my wife, but unfortunately I'm depressing her. I really got to practice. But
Okay.
I think music's beautiful, and I think it's a wonderful way to express oneself. And so these are a lot of certain activities that I'd like to do to be able to, I guess, relate to others and to learn more. But I'm very much into health. So during COVID, I doubled down and started waking up early every day and going to my home gym for about 2 hours. I'm very serious about that with the cardio, and I hit the bag, and I do some weights and stomach, and I'm watching videos in regards to certain core training. And I like that. I like the self-respect. I like the sort of balance that I have in my mind and my body. I've been juicing a lot more as well. So since Costa Rica has I heard from a good friend of mine that, a couple dozen eggs could cost you $15. And in Costa Rica, I can get, 24 eggs for about $2. And when I go to our farmer's market, I can eat healthy on an extremely frugal budget. So there's no reason why you should be going to fast food or easy food. You
Right.
have such incredible, healthy, exotic fruit and vegetables and seafood at your disposal. So I probably gained about 8 pounds, but I gained it in muscle. And this routine that my wife and I have every day with our diet is incredible. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to not only afford this here, but have the sort of luxury of the accessibility, because living in Central America, this food is in abundance. So these are the sort of things midlife, where I'm almost 50 years old, that, my body's not like it's 20 where I can eat 5 pizzas and handle it.
Mhm.
I have to be very careful about what's going in my body now so I can have the endurance, Tika, to do podcasts in the evening and work full days in the morning. And, you have plenty of time to sleep later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have this vigor and you have these dreams and this vision, I believe that sometimes working 80 hours a week will enable you not to be working 40 in the future.
Right.
And so I'm kind of on this little kick right now where I have all these things that are happening, but you have to prioritize because
Right.
there's only so much time that you have in the day.
Right. I am definitely a writer. I have to write everything down. I have to write it down, put it in my phone because I will forget. Wow, wonderful story. So I'm looking at your stuff in the background. Is that one of the areas that your employees go to?
No, ma'am, this is in my private office where I have my studio. I have, once again, this Ricola behind me and a
I
candy.
see. I love it.
That
I
candy's
love
for me. You kidding?
I
I love it
love
Treats
too.
outside.
Oh,
That's the
that.
private stash. Uh,
The good
oh
stuff.
wow.
but most of the time, I'm on the floor. If anyone's seen in the movies what a call center looks like, there's just row after row after row. And pre-COVID, it was packed. But once COVID hit, by Costa Rican labor law, I wasn't allowed to have more than 50% of my people in the office. I keep it about 20% to give myself a 30% buffer, because Maria and I were talking earlier, Tika, about work from home agents and scalability. Maria was telling me that she wants to have her core people at a brick and mortar place because she wants to have her server room there, a dedicated workforce. She wants internet redundancy, electricity, and immediate IT support. And those are some of the challenges that I have from work from home agents. It hasn't been too much of a hiccup because we have a great infrastructure, but sure, computers go down or electricity's there. So within a half an hour, they could be on a turnkey station. But I missed a camaraderie. I missed the fact of standing in the middle of a row and stopping and listening to somebody's call and giving them a thumbs up, or having that face-to-face training. It's selfish of me. But on the flip side, when, like you just mentioned, these items that are behind me, when you get a chance to be on a Zoom call with somebody, you really get a chance to see what's in their world. And so I can see a stuffed bunny rabbit in the corner or certain posters in the background. And it's a great way to find a connection, a me too with somebody.
Right.
And it's been almost as effective. You know perfectly well that when you're with somebody physically sitting next to you, it's a lot more powerful than over a Zoom. But we've made those adjustments. And in order for me to meet in the middle with the agents, they have to be reliable. They have to do their job. If they do, thumbs up, continue what you're doing.
Right.
But if there's shenanigans or they lose their focus, I might want them to come back to the office for a period of time, just for a refocusing.
Right. Working at home is not for everybody. I've been working from home for double-digit years, and I get to the point where I get a part-time job just to get out the house. And that part works for me. Leaving the house just to get a couple of hours to myself, to be honest, because being in the house all the time would drive you nuts. COVID made me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I couldn't go nowhere. It was so depressing when COVID first came out because they locked us down. We couldn't even go anywhere. You only can go outside if you were going to work or to the grocery store. Then the grocery stores were only open for a certain amount of time. It was just so depressing. So
it was like a Twilight Zone.
yeah, it was
right?
I felt like I was in a movie. I felt like I was in one of those horror movies. When I say nobody was out on the street, nobody was out on the street. And I was an essential worker, so I had to go to work regardless of the COVID. That was me getting out the house. But after a while, I was like, I'll just stay in the house because I'm scared.
Check this out, Maria. I needed to have notarized from an attorney permission to go in the streets for the first couple months, from like March,
Really?
April, May. Oh yeah, it was like literally lockdown. And so, I mean, there's public transportation. There were certain sort of, you call them essential workers. So there was still some sort of things, but let me put it this way. That first day I had to come to the call center for something and I need to work with my IT guy because we were still working with the VPN for work from home agents. And when I drove through the city and I was trying to, I drive a convertible. I love my 1992 Cabriolet convertible. So even though the town was dead, I was still kind of alive. I put the freaking top down. I was driving in the sun. I'm trying to smile and listen to my, 80s music and put myself in a mood. But I'll be forthright with you two ladies. There was also a tear in my eye. And I didn't know what was going on, but I knew that my body was there, but my mind was elsewhere, and every store was closed. There's nobody on the street. And I just couldn't believe it. And just making that drive usually used to take me about 25 minutes to get to work. I got there in 12 minutes. Now, naturally, I crossed a couple red lights and a couple there's nobody there. So look left and right. I'm going through it. But that's not the point. I mean, it was almost like one of those, those scary sci-fi movies where no one's I should have a shotgun in my back, right? And walking around the street.
I felt like I was in The Walking Dead. Yep. I felt like somebody from The Walking Dead. I'm like, because thank God, I live by the military base. I live by Langley Air Force. So great. If anything go down, I know where I can go. But it felt like a zombie was going to pop out from somewhere, because at the time, the job I had to be to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. So nobody's out because we're supposed to be on lockdown. So being that I was working at the hospital, I had to go to work. So it was crazy. Like you said, felt like you should have had a gun on your back or something.
Were you stocking shelves? I mean, were you putting in the tuna fish and the pastas and the toilet paper? Were you doing what everyone was doing?
I didn't. I know. For me, I did not do that. I got a little scared about the toilet paper.
Okay, you should have seen the
Be-
lines down here.
because because it was so scarce, and I was trying to get used to the telehealth system because all of my clients, they're face to face, and for them to have to sit behind a computer or their phone to speak with me, it was at times very distracting for them,
Yes.
especially if someone was home and they would be like, "Oh, sorry, somebody's calling me," or "What was that noise?" Or I'm hearing some people talking outside. It was like always some outside factor rather than just being in a regular office, being able to talk to your counselor. So it was just a lot of adjustments, and a lot of things were not approved because we were not, able to be in any distance of each other. Um, or, talking to someone and they're telling you what they're going through with having COVID, how they're felt like they're isolated for a long period of time because they had it, or they were too weak to go out or to get anything. It's just yeah, very tough time. And I noticed even with children that the personal skills um decreased, being able to relate to people and things like that decreased dramatically, because they were, not no longer in school. They said, "Oh, I don't know, wasn't even paying attention to the teacher, looking at the computer. Uh, I was in La La Land somewhere, so
Tika, let
uh,
me ask you a question. Weren't your best times in school when you sat with your friends at lunch? Or you
yeah,
participated in sports after school? Or
yeah,
that's how we build our
definitely.
characters, right? Isn't that what
Right,
made us today who we are?
right.
When I
Yes.
saw the children eating their lunches at their seats, their desks spread out,
Mm-hmm.
that made me sad
Yes, very.
because I know that they're missing out on that confidence building and those special memories that the three of us had growing up.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Like,
But as a
and,
counselor,
and
though,
you're right. You're
you-
right. And
you-
it's very our special memories. As
but
that is a perfect example.
I just see empathy is something that a lot of people are lacking these days. You being a professional counselor, Tika, obviously there's patience and empathy there. And Maria, with what you're doing as well, caring about your agents.
Yes, they want to come back to work so bad. I'm trying to get everything in order because, like I was telling you earlier, I have to do something very different.
Well, what are you thinking? Let's bounce some ideas back and forth. You got me here. You got my special sauce. What can the three of us create today to have you start strong?
What do you think, Tika? The That's a good question.
Well, it's
See,
really about the company culture, though, right?
right, it is. It is.
About knowing the boss and doing those interactive trainings that you do where people participate. It's the quality assurance that you do so you can grade their calls and coach them accordingly.
Yep,
So
I do
there's no
that.
surprises, right?
Right.
Those are the sort of things that you'd be building upon that we spoke about earlier.
Right. I do want to do something different. Like I was said earlier, I want to have the corporate, people in the corporate office, my team leads and my supervisors will be in the corporate office, and then I will have agents work from home. Because I think it'll work better that way. Because I worked from home before through other companies, and it has its ups and downs. The ups is you're at home. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to go anywhere. The downside is you have one person that's responsible for 50 people and everybody asking questions. So when you work from home, it's harder to get the help that you need when you're versus being at the call center.
Maria, I got a question. You mentioned about 50 people. Out of the 50, how many are aces? Do you have at least 3 or 5?
I
that are
have 3.
capable. Oh, okay. Can you delegate? Is there a chance you can just extend a couple more responsibilities to take some off of your plate and allow them to be able to answer some of those questions or be experts in certain areas?
Right. That is my goal, to retrain everybody when I reopen the call center. The ones that roll with me to the end,
Yeah,
the ones that started with me from the beginning, we started from nothing. I started the call center by myself. I did all the everything by myself. Nobody helped me do anything. I built it from the ground up. I did the training manual myself. I did everything by myself. And these young ladies rolled with me from nothing. They were there from the time I started. They even helped me build they even helped me with the training manual, because they were more on the phones more than I was, even though I was on the phone, because for me to do the training manual, I had to do the work. And what I mean by do the work, I had to be an agent. I was the very first agent for my business. And
brilliant.
then I hired other, because how can I tell you what to do if I haven't tried it? I can.
That's a real leader, Maria, right?
Yes, sir, it is. So that's what I had to do. I had to get on the phone first, and I was like, ugh. So I have to get on the phone. So I got on the phone first, and
Did you
that's how.
record these calls? Did you
Yes,
record? Okay. And did you grade yourself in front of these agents as well?
I did not grade myself in front of them. However, I had one agent that I'm very close to. She and I still talk on a regular basis. I did talk to her about the calls, and um, that she's the one that helped me with the training manual, because our calls were different. She had her calls on how she handled her calls that worked for her.
Right.
That was within the guidelines. And I had my way of doing calls that worked for me. And what we did was we took that and we put it together.
Wonderful. And of course you were working on rebuttals as well.
Of course. Well, the good thing about what we were doing was cable, Wi-Fi, internet. It was all inbound calls. The only time we did an outbound call is if we were calling the customer back because the date that they picked for their installation was not available, or we'll call them back. Let's say, for example, Richard, you got your services put in today. Well, I'll call you within like a couple of days to check up on you. How was your installation? Were you able to get your installation done? And how was it? Do like a survey follow-up call.
I love personal courtesy calls, and unlike other companies that will just send you a form, you're taking the effort to talk with somebody. So I like that higher class of service that you're giving.
Thank you. So we reached out to them. So that was the good part about it. They were inbound calls because a lot of people don't want to do outbound calls. So I do the outbound calls, check up on them, and every 3 months. Well, that was the plan, after 3 months to check up on the customer again, send them a gift or something for being a customer, like the gift cards or something like that, the Visa gift cards for keeping the services, stuff like that. But I'm starting over. I have to do a little bit more research. That's something you and I talk about off the off the air.
Well, my suggestions initially is to maybe, instead of building out a huge server room with the equipment on site, do things in the cloud. There's companies that can support you that way and host your resources there. You could start with a very, very small space. You're looking at a half a dozen or a dozen people. And you can, and once again, with commercial real estate, everyone wants to rent some space out. So you can probably get some prime real estate comfortably and grow from there. If I have to make a suggestion, just make sure you have natural light and that the air is fresh in there. And it's because a lot of people work in boiler rooms. And as much as people might be making money, that terrible lighting and the air and stuff, it can really physiologically affect people. I always believe, I don't like open floors. I mean, you can sit with people, but there needs to be some sort of division because people need to have that sort of little bit of privacy. Even if you have noise canceling headsets, it's still too loud, and you know that. White noise is good in the background. A lot of times people like to use fans or other sort of machines, but no, maybe what you do is some nice soft music. Yeah. Just to be able to put people in a mood. I always believe in certain scents. So I always like apple cinnamon. It reminds me of grandma's house at Christmas. You have that going on. And check this out. On Fridays, we do Popcorn Friday. So the
Wow.
entire call center reeks of popcorn. It's like Scooby-Doo. You could be on the third floor and you're going to be following that smell all the way down to the first floor to get your
That is
popcorn.
I would love that though. Popcorn.
Popcorn Friday. Do they get to
It's like
dress
a
down
little
on Fridays?
machine, little fresh popcorn. That's all. And be careful though, because when you start getting the other stuff like the caramel and stuff, just make sure you get the certain machine. If not, you're going to be burning it out. So it's
Yeah.
just a warning for you.
I like that.
Yeah,
What
popcorn Fridays and hot
and what do you
dogs.
think? And what do you think, Maria? Like starting off small, the idea that he's bringing about, starting off small, still having the amount, small amount of people, and bringing the call center to life.
I
So you
agree
could
with
do it
that.
two ways. You have your core, and as you grow, go to the blended center for
Mhm.
the extra calls that come in, as you were mentioning, if it's inbound support, but you don't have enough volume to staff it all day long. So you staff your core people during the peak hours, and if there's any sort of overflow, then you team up with a blended or a mixed center, and you can pay them per call or pay them per minute. And then once you start adjusting the workforce management there to know your volume, then you start adding new dedicated seats. So ladies, you can do a very, very nice balance. And your core agents are the ones that can train the other agents, is training the trainer. And so there's very good ways with the CRMs that you could be watching the queue and seeing the calls that come in, who is in ready status, how much talk time they're on. Is it a first call? You know all this, Maria, but Tika, you're correct. Don't go crazy in the beginning. Start small, start steady, but you can do core, dedicated, overflow, blended, and then you start mixing it back and forth.
Sounds like a plan. I'm still working on my plan on how I'm gonna do everything. And it's funny you should say that because that's what I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for something small. I want to start off small. I don't want nothing huge or too big. Because where I'm at now, this is an office. I have 1, 2, 4 computers in here. So I had people here.
Sure.
Working here. So I have 4 computers set up here. I started off, it was easy. I knew the people. And it was fun. And I think when I started back, I probably have one of the young ladies working with me, and she and I will rebuild it until where we can get our call volume back up and start it over again. I really do miss doing it. It was fun. But COVID happened and everything just went down, and it's hard to start. I feel like I have to start all over again,
Well, cable's also that's not, it's a challenging account, and there's so many. If you have a call center, Maria and Tika, there are many other verticals that you can sign up for that are pay per performance or sort of companies that will hire you on an hourly basis. And
Um,
so maybe you just hire some specialists just to try a couple different accounts, and then when something has traction, you invest a little bit more time in that.
It sounds good. We would definitely talk about that again off the air, because I do have some questions that I want to ask you.
And I want to see your script too. I love seeing that stuff. And if you want to send me your recording, I would love to hear that too.
Okay. I can definitely send you the script and the manual. I'm gonna work on some more stuff, but we would definitely talk more about that off the air. You
Absolutely.
hit a lot of pointers that I really needed to know to get myself back together, because at the end of the day, I am not trying to work for nobody but Maria.
Well, Maria, I got your back. And anytime you want to call me and
Thank you.
bounce ideas back and forth, you know I'm going to take care of you.
I know, Richard. So Tika, what you think about everything? I think we had having a great conversation. Shoot, I can keep talking on and on and on. I'm really want the call center back open. So like I said, I'll definitely talk to you again off the air about that. But
Yes, I believe that it's very informative, and also for the listeners, there are some listeners out here that are either working at a call center currently, or someone that is trying to get some things up and running, or a business up and running and may have some stumbling blocks. But, you know, it's good to have those types of key factors in learning about different businesses. And like we said on our podcast, we talk about a variety of things. So
Yeah,
why not talk about business? Because
Right.
business is very important. And we all know that when the pandemic, especially with the pandemic, you kept hearing people say, oh, well, starting my own business, you know, and some people, of course, you don't know where they are with those businesses because, you know, you saw them in passing or you may have lost contact, but it that's the way of what things are going now. So it's good to have someone who's had longevity tell you, you know, and inform you of things that would be beneficial.
absolutely, Tika. If I may I share a couple, I guess, secrets with you in regards to my success? It's
Yes.
since English is their second language, and I love that because even if they have a slight accent, ladies, it really does still bear the mark of higher education. And everything that I'm going to be teaching and introducing them is that learning a second language is 10 times harder than the job that they're going to be doing here. So I have to put things in perspective. But I'm also a firm believer in vocabulary. Both you two are amazing public speakers, and that's important. And you've both worked on
Thank
this
you.
craft. I believe in vocabulary. And so I encourage the agents to use the thesaurus every day. So besides the definition of words, they can learn similes. So for an example, Tika, just for any sort of conflict management, which is important for people starting a business or working with people, instead of saying the word help, I make suggestions to use assist, guide, or lend a hand. Instead of saying, excuse me, I can't hear you because Loco was barking in the background, I would say,
Loco.
Maria, for my clarification, was it A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3? These are certain times, ladies, that you can fall on a sword and you can reduce any sort of ego defense that these people have with whom you're speaking. And so by carrying a certain conversation that way, where if they ask you a question, use their name, repeat the question, let them know it's an excellent question, and then answer it in a certain positive tone, you can almost readjust these sort of conversations. And Tika, you know this as a counselor as well. A lot of it is about mirror imaging, how people speak,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily their tone. You should always be confident and empathetic. But if people are fast talkers or slow talkers, depending on where you are, or loud or soft talkers, it's a great way just to mirror image how they speak. So just in case there's some sort of spike or a dip in regards to their communication style, you two will be astute enough to ask a qualifying question or a tie down question, or as you would say, a rebuttal, asking if it makes sense or sounds good, or just clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are the sort of 30-second to 2-minute intervals that I have my agents pay attention to for a much more structured phone call. So they're just not over pitching. It's almost like pitching in a desert. There's no oasis. You're not letting your
Right.
client speak. It's, I know what I know. I kind of want to know what you
You know
know. So I cut the
exactly.
bag.
I'm
Yeah,
a confirmer. I always confirm at the end of the conversation, just to confirm.
brilliant.
Yes, just to confirm, Miss Johnson, you got the triple play that includes HBO, Showtime, Stars. You get 152 channels for only $99.99 a month. Is that
Hmm.
just to you always confirm, because sometimes they're like, well, I didn't hear that. I thought you said something else. No, I'm gonna go ahead at the end of this call. I am going to confirm everything that you said to me that has to do with this order. Just to confirm, use A, B, C, D, until the end of the call. Also,
Yeah.
strange, but I like, my favorite callers are the irate customers. When I used to work at
Tell, do tell.
the
Give me
reason
the
why
story.
I used to work at this company back in the day, when remember people used to be able to rent to own their computer, or put the computer on layaway, they can call in. I used to work for one of those companies where they call in to get a computer, they can put the computer on layaway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this lady, she called and she cursed everybody out in the call center. Nobody wanted to talk to her. So she called a specific day. I was at work and I got her. Actually, I didn't get her. They transferred her to me. So they was like,
Negative escalation.
yes, they said, you're the only person that she ain't cursed out yet.
I love it.
So when she When I got they transferred her to me and we talking, she going off. I didn't say nothing. I'm writing as she's talking and I'm listening. And I've learned when an irate person calls you, I'm telling that was I sold her that lady 10 computers that day.
You upsold her 10.
I sold her 10 computers because first of all, she was like, do not read that script to me.
Ooh.
I want you to sell me this computer. She said, don't you read that script. I'm like, is she kidding? And so I had to sell her the computer and I ended up selling her the computer. She said, that's all I wanted. She said, I wanted you to sell me this computer. I didn't want you to read no script. So I had.
But you don't force hands.
No.
You don't do things like that. You don't twist an arm. What was your technique, if I may ask a follow-up question? I'm very interested.
Well, my technique,
what did you stop?
When she called and she was like, basically she talked to everybody and she said, I want you to sell me this computer. I don't want you to read that script. I want you to explain to me why should I buy this computer? So I told her the operating systems. I'm just going to use my computer as an example. It was so long ago. I said, ma'am, I asked her what kind of computer she had at the time. At the time, she had low RAM or whatever. I explained to her the different computers. I said, well, the computers that we have on sale today, we have the operation system of Windows 10 Home. The features are the CD DVD player with the rewriter. You also have the Intel Core i15 3.2 gigahertz, 12 gigabytes, 1 terabyte. And it also comes with home and office use. Now, the original price for this computer is $1,200, but we do have a special today where you can do a down payment of only $10 and you can get the computer. Now, you can do several things. You can lay away where you can pay on the computer monthly until the computer pay off, or you can go ahead and pay the $99. We'll send the computer to you within 2 weeks. Would you like to do that? She said, what's your next computer? The next computer that I have up under that is $800. Unfortunately, we do not have the layaway option for this computer. The reason being, this computer is very popular and it's going very fast. We only have about 5 of these computers left, but the original computer that I introduced to you, we have about 10 of those left. Actually, what I can do, if you get 10, I can give you a discount. Instead of you paying $1,200 for each computer, I'll do something even better. You won't do any down payment today. Instead of your monthly payment being $99 a month, I'll knock it down to you for $50 a month for your 10 computers. You receive your computers within 2 weeks along with your contract and paperwork. Also, what I'll do for you is give you a free 1-year warranty for each computer that you have. How would you like that?
Maria, that was incredible. You know what my favorite part is on that? If I can give you a quick QA KPI.
Thank you.
Your trigger words are incredible. Look at the pausing you do, areas you emphasize. You love your pronouns, name dropping. I know you're great at that too. But that is, listen to me, that's art of speech. And it's more from an educated point of view. You're not selling. That was a very nice conversation.
Thank you. She was adamant about, don't you sell me that computer? I'm like, sheesh.
Yeah, but she didn't realize she was going into an undefeated heavyweight champ.
There's
no way you weren't going to get that call.
Thank you. Thank you. But I love it. I love customer service. I love talking to people. To be honest with you, while I have you on the phone, I want to write a manual. It's called Customer Service 101. But not the manual that this customer service that people got out. The customer service, what I mean, it's okay I'm a firm believer. If I walk into a room, I speak to everybody. When I go to the grocery store, good morning, everybody. I speak to everybody. That's how I am. I speak to everybody. The reason why I want to write this this manual is because a lot of people don't have customer service. Perfect example. Went to pick up my car from Pet Boys a couple of years ago. Walked in there. They're not doing anything. They don't have any customers. They didn't even speak to me. They didn't even say, welcome to Pet Boys or anything. And it made me hot. I said, excuse me. Hello, how are you? I just walked in. Nobody acknowledged that I was here, but you want my money. I was just so upset because I feel like when somebody walk into a room, especially your business, welcome to whatever. Do you need help? Is anybody helping you? Nobody. I'm standing there for like 10 minutes. Nobody said anything. And I got so mad. My sister was like, just come on, let's get out. I need my car. But I want to speak to a supervisor because this is not good customer service.
No.
You want my money, but you can't even speak to me. You can't even acknowledge that I am there. I don't like that. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I don't like when you speak to people and they don't speak back. If I come in the room and say good morning, I need everybody else to say good morning too. It's just rude not to speak back when somebody is speaking to you. I don't like it. It just irritates me. It just grinds my gears. Even if I don't care for you, if we walk in, I'm going to speak. Good morning, good evening, afternoon, or whatever. That's how I was raised. These people nowadays, I don't know who raised them.
Yeah, they don't care.
They're just rude.
Ladies, my suggestion, just be disappointed more than angry, because you don't want to ruin your balance and your energy. You're just such fine ladies and happy. Why have someone at Pep Boys ruin your day, you know?
Right.
They made me mad. I had to pay them $1,200 to get my car. They couldn't even speak to me. I was mad.
I hate all the brothers, Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Well,
especially Jack.
But now I have my dad. My dad fixes my car for me.
Oh, that's cool. But things are changed. I agree with you. Back in the day, more people knew each other. They knew their clients, neighbors knew each other. And it's funny, in Costa Rica, the neighbors still do know each other. It's almost like the 1950s. I've seen that. And I like to go to stores where people do know my name. It's not like they're giving me extra service, but when I take very good care of them and I do show up on Mother's Day and it's packed, maybe the maitre d' will save a table for me and my swagger and my wife. So sometimes good things come around. And maybe you caught a Marie on a bad day. Maybe the people that you met are just incredible people, but it's the one day their puppy ran away. So they were just...
But both of them, though? It was two of them.
Well, then they both lost their puppies. But I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
I do know that I shine and that I have a certain personality, and maybe they don't wake up every day as happy as the three of us. It's not their fault. As you mentioned, it's how they were raised. Maybe they weren't in a loving family.
Just rude.
Like we were.
Yeah.
We just don't know. But I like the fact that there's a spring in your step, and you should go into every store and say good morning. And don't expect that they say good morning back, but if they do, then you've won.
Yep.
Right?
That's why I only go to one specific grocery store in my neighborhood. I go to Food Lion, and it's not the one closer to my house. The one that's closer to I don't go to that one. It's a Dollar General that's 5 minutes away. I go to the one that's 10, 15 minutes away because of the customer service. To me, it's about that customer. So I'm not going to spend my money with no one who's rude and disrespectful. Like I said, there's a Dollar General that's closer to me 5 minutes away, but I don't like their customer service. So I go to the other one because their customer service is awesome. So
Marie, I got a question, a follow-up question from this. Let's say you go to your Dollar General and the young man or young lady is very helpful and they've assisted you and smiled and said good morning. I'm sure you're the kind of person that would then ask to speak to their supervisor.
Yep.
They're great.
And I do it all the time.
Know how amazing their employee. Well, good for you. I can't stress enough positive escalations. It's giving a gift at a company.
I made the young lady cry. I didn't mean to, but her customer service was just so great.
When was the last time someone said something like that, Maria? How long has it been since someone did that to her and showed the acknowledgement?
Probably never.
Probably never.
Probably
You're
never.
the first one.
Yeah, probably because I guess she thought I was getting the manager because she did something wrong. I said, you didn't do anything wrong. I just need to speak to your supervisor. And I did it in front of, I said, she has excellent customer service. Told her to give her a raise and everything. But I am that type of person. If you give me good customer service, oh yeah, I'm going to give your boss some feedback. I'm calling. I have sent letters. I have sent cards out like customer service excellent. Went to a store the next day just to tell the boss, because the boss wasn't there that day, just to tell the boss how good her employee was with the customer service. I went to a beauty supply store And I live in there, so it took me forever. But this particular day, it didn't take me that long. The young lady knew exactly what I wanted. She stopped what she was doing to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever she was, yeah, she stopped. She stopped what she was doing and she helped me out. And her customer service was great. She wouldn't leave my side until I was ready to pay for my merchandise. And the boss wasn't there. So I went in there the next day and I said, she did great. She did awesome. Customer service is out of this world. And she was like, thank you so much. So I am definitely that person. You give me some good customer service, I got you. I got you.
That's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. They encourage others to be better.
Mm-hmm. I try my best.
Well, you're succeeding. You're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So when are you ladies coming to visit Costa Rica?
Do I gotta fly?
I'm definitely ready.
Are you two into ecotourism?
Love
There's hot springs here and waterfalls and a lot of great places to hike and explore.
Oh my gosh, I would love a hot spring. That's on one of my list of things that I want to do.
It's very economical here. It's about a third of the states. And there's about 500,000 expats that are living here. So a lot of people have retired here because you can get great dental and medical care and the cost of living. And you have a friend here. I'm here. And so if you're going to dip your toe into traveling abroad, Maria, and I know it's nerve-wracking the first time, but you and Tika are more than invited to be here. And I could set up a nice trip for you and take you out to dinner and introduce you to a bunch of people and just have a good time. We can do a follow-up podcast here at the
I know, right? Tika, that sounds great, don't it?
Well, yes.
I have to get over flying, but I'm down. I'm with it. Shoot.
I have a question about the sipping. Does that mean you'll be tasting some of the local drinks here too?
Y'all drinks like
Sure.
Heck yeah, probably be more potent than it is here.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends if you know the bartender. Remember, if you compliment them, you get better drinks.
Oh yes, awesome. But yeah, Maria, the whole fear of flying thing, you can definitely get over that. It's
have to, because I was already told, they was like, once you fly once, that's what you're gonna want to do. You're just gonna fly everywhere.
Yeah.
And sit next to the window so you can really enjoy the view. There's nothing better than the takeoff, the landing, and when you're above the clouds. And some people put those shades down. I don't want to bother the dude sitting next to me, but I'm paying good money to look outside. This is better than
definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely paying money to look outside my, the window.
Of course.
And to look at the scenery and things like that. But yes, definitely, Maria, once you jump out there, you're gonna be like, oh, this is so awesome.
I'm gonna take baby steps. I am going to go somewhere short, like somewhere no longer than 2 hours. I'm gonna start short, and then as I'm a grad, because I do want to go to Costa Rica.
Well, come with me to New York. That's a 45-minute flight.
I heard.
Yeah, come with me.
I wouldn't mind coming to New York. I go to New York, I might get stuck. Oh wow, Costa Rica. Now you got me thinking. They do have cruises that go over there, right?
Yes, they do.
I'll take like I said, I'll do a cruise. I'll get on a boat with no problem.
And it stops off in the Puerto Limon. If you're looking on that side, and the other side, the Pacific side, there's a lot of other ports. So no, we have a lot of tourism that's coming every year. In fact, thank God it's building back up. But for a while, as you were mentioning during COVID, so many hotels and restaurants went out of business, but they're not vacant. There's another company that comes in, scoops them up, opens them up, changes the name, and boom, they're in business. So there's always things happening that's down here.
That's what's up. I'm very interested in coming though. I'm looking as we speak. I want to go. Ooh.
But as I was mentioning, the ecotourism, so instead of just lying on a beach sometimes or just relaxing, you could really fill it with, a lot of the different areas that you could go to, from the hot springs to certain beaches, the resorts. But a lot of people like to do the zip lining or do the 4x4s or the
Heck
horseback
no.
rides. And it's almost like camp. You girls will be busy all day long doing, you'll be exhausted by the end of the day with all
Yeah,
the.
I wanna do the zip lining, the natural springs. I'm into things that are natural and natural healing as well. So
Well, there are some eco lodges, Tika, where you could get away, where there's monkeys that come out to your porch, butterflies that are everywhere,
Ooh.
iguanas are right there. You're picking fruit off of the trees, and it's just, if you really want that sort of encompassing experience where you really become one and have that moment, there are some places where you could really get away and have that sort of time and that recharging that you might be
mhm,
looking for, you know?
Wow.
absolutely.
It's addicting, you know, because back in Philadelphia and I went to school in Arizona, and I know you're Virginia. My family went to Washington Lee in Lexington, and the United States is beautiful, but you can also get wrapped up into things, not just the rat race, you just get wrapped up. And moving abroad, I guess I shifted some of my priorities. I still like certain things in life, and I did grow up a certain way, but when you can shed some skin, when you can be born again, and you can eliminate certain things that you really thought were very important, but as you get older, you realize there are much more important things in life. And without getting too deep, you know that family is important, and you also know your friends are important. And that's what's the things that I focus on. As much as you're an owner of a company and you think financials and stuff, I don't judge myself on how much money I make. Most people would think I didn't make enough money, and who cares? I'd
Right.
rather be judged on merit. I'd rather be judged, ladies, on how many families I fed here, and the fact that I had enough guts to leave the United States and throw my hat in the ring and represent our country in the best light by moving abroad.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as my parents would love to give me advice, they never did this. And as much as my friends could compare notes with me, they never did this either. They're doctors and engineers and architects and lawyers. And so most of the time they just said, go, Richard, go. They saw my momentum. They saw where I was heading, but they just couldn't walk with me because it was just a different adventure.
Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes you have to just take that walk and walk out on faith. I know somebody who's experiencing that now, and I'm just gonna move. Well, he did. I had a friend that was here. He's been in Georgia. What year is this? For like 5 years. He quit his job. Well, he made sure he found a job first. He found one in Atlanta, paid
Yeah.
more money, and he left. He was like, I need new scenery. He left, been there ever since, happy, doing very well for himself. So sometimes you do have to step out, it works for you just to see what's out there sometimes. Sometimes when you step out, what you have, which when you step out is better than what you already have.
Well, I have a question about your good friend here. Obviously, it sounds like a very intelligent person that was marketable, so got a better job with more pay.
Mhm.
But I'm sure they did their due diligence before moving, obviously, to research where they're going to live, the cost of living, what it would be. So I'm not telling people just on a whim to just get up and go. And some people do
I do
that.
know
I'm
somebody that
not,
did that though.
yeah,
Her and
yeah.
her husband put gas in their car. They sold everything in their house, put
Wow.
gas in their car, and wherever they was about to run out of gas at, that's where they moved to, and they still live there. They ran out of gas in Colorado, and that's where they live at. I
Just
Well,
said,
close
"Well,
your eyes and throw those
and
darts. I love
Colorado
it.
is look, Colorado is a beautiful state. They landed somewhere, well, not landed, but they ended up somewhere beautiful.
yes." I was like, "You, that's a bold move." And they was like, "We just wanted something different," and they picked the direction they wanted to go in. They went in that direction, and wherever they was where they about to run out of gas, that's where they went.
Marie, you mentioned they. So obviously the couple was in agreement with this together,
Yep,
right?
yep. It was awesome. I said, that's hey. people do some things that I wouldn't do, but I said I wanted to get in my car. I want to move back down south, but
Yeah.
I don't want to go necessarily back to Georgia. I want to live somewhere, don't judge me, where it's only like 1,200 people or less.
Mhm.
I don't want to be in the big city. I want to be in a small little community. That's all. I really do. I don't want anything big anymore.
I like that.
I want just 1,200 people. I'm cool with that.
You just want to hang out on Main Street.
Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
it. That's it. I don't need all of that stuff. As long as I have my computer, I don't even need a phone, to be honest. As long as I got my computer and my babies, I'm good.
Well, I have a question though, because bright lights in big cities exciting. I mean,
I
Tika's
don't want to
still in
live
New
there.
York. Your ladies are happening. Why would you prefer to have, if I may, and it's nothing wrong with it, but that sort of lifestyle compared to what you're used to?
Let's say this. I want to go somewhere else and raise hell and then come back to my quiet home. I want to go somewhere else and adventure and have fun. I want to have somewhere else to go. If I don't have that in my little community,
Yeah.
that works for me. That gives me something else to do. So I'd rather just be in a small little neighborhood, small community, and then just visit the city. I'm not really in, I'm cool with,
Would you be active in this small community?
of course.
And
Of
what sort of areas of the community? Would it be the schools or the churches or
I like the elderly. I want
the
to,
elderly?
yes, I'm actually going to start doing that again, volunteering at the nursing homes. Mhm. I used to volunteer at the nursing home. I stopped because one of the ladies that I got close to passed away, and it broke my heart. I would never forget her. Her name was Miss Littleton. Her kids just came and dropped her off at the nursing home, and she never seen them again. And every day I used to go in her room, read to her, talk to her. And then one day she wasn't there, and I lost my mind. You would have thought she was my grandmother.
How old was this beautiful soul?
Miss Littleton was 91 years old.
Oh my goodness. And how much wisdom did she pass to you?
A lot. A lot. I
Well,
cried.
you're still speaking about her today.
Yep, I never forget her. I
Well,
would
that's beautiful.
never forget her. And I couldn't do the nursing home thing anymore because we were just so close. And they was like, it happens. I was like, I can't take this kind of pain.
Mhm.
But there's another person there that needs you, and you know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to do it again. I enjoyed it because you learn a lot from them. Boy, do you do. And she had, dementia and Alzheimer's, so she would always go back in the day, and I go back in the day with her. I was whoever she wanted me to be. Never
But she
got
would
out of
hold your
character.
hand and she would tell you the most beautiful stories.
Mhm.
And
Her
smile.
hands were so frail and soft and wrinkly. I miss her. I really do. But when she passed away, oh my goodness, I was done.
For the moment, but you're
Yeah.
going back again.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go to a different nursing home this time, though. But I did enjoy that. I was telling my sister, I need to get back out more because since this COVID, I became a hermit. I used to be very active, but I'm so scary with this different strains of COVID. I still wear my mask. A lot of people don't.
There's nothing wrong with that. But also getting back to your dear friend there, you really judge somebody's true character during chaos or during tough
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
The fact that you're showing such compassion and that it affected you so is a beautiful thing. It's not making you vulnerable, Maria and Tika, by sharing these stories, but what you're doing is being still true to your audience. You did mention about going there and about having these conversations and sharing certain things where you expose yourself, but it's for the greater good.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Richard.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I always think about, once again, that it's something that's selfless and that's giving. And even though I don't participate in those sort of environments in senior living homes, but I still do have that sort of giving energy
Mhm.
like you did. If it's listening to a story and, as you say, going back in time and there, but maybe when the agents, and you were saying before how sometimes people would have a tough time in life and they
Mhm.
might be bringing those energies into the office. So ladies, if I'm capable of recharging their batteries or giving them an environment for at least 8 hours where they could be productive and do something, then maybe when they leave the office, they're feeling good enough to be able to confront and conquer some of the challenges that they have in their own
Right.
home.
Right. I am a communicator. I am that type of person. If you can talk to me about anything. I don't I don't do the run back and tell. I only give advice if I've been through it or know somebody who's been through it. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to tell you. I never experienced that. I can't really give you too much information on that, but I can give you my opinion to that situation. But if I've been through it, I will share my story. Well, the only reason why I know this is because ABCD. Um, come talk to me. That's my thing. Don't lash out, because sometimes, like you're saying, people lash out and they're not upset with you. It's something that happened before they got to work and they haven't learned how to leave it in the door. They don't know, they should have left it. They don't know how to do that. So, and then sometimes people do things and don't know they're doing it. And you have to let them know, well, Tasha, you do know ABCD. She's like, no, I didn't notice I did. Yeah, every time I try to talk to you, your eyes is like rolling your eyes, like you're not interested in the conversation. Well, I didn't notice I was doing that. I apologize. But sometimes people don't know what they're doing because nobody never corrected it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody never corrected what they were doing. They allowed them to continue to do it the wrong way.
The bad habits.
Bad, yeah.
Bad habits. Yeah.
Bad habits. So if you don't correct it or somebody don't tell you, you don't know. So talk to me. Even if you're mad at me, come talk to me. We are adults. Don't shout, don't yell at me, but come talk to me. Like you have some sense.
But
All
obviously you do it diplomatically and taking their emotions into
Mhm.
consideration.
Definitely.
Because that could spiral out of control. They feel offended. You yelled at them. You teased them in front of people. So
Right.
obviously you don't do that on the floor. You bring them
No.
somewhere else. And by pulling the call, it's their own voice that speaks for itself. And so for me, I give them a little bit of Philly guilt. They'll do what you say, not do the best call, and I'll just give them a look and I go, you're better than that, right?
Right.
You're out of character.
Right.
You're right, Richard. You're right. I go, come on. What are you doing?
Right.
So I start teasing them a little bit.
Yeah, you have to give them that pep talk. You have to you can't be serious all the time in the work environment. Your employees will shut down because they feel like they can't come talk to you. Every time they come talk to you, you have to be so, everything is just strictly business. No, it cannot always be like that. You have to communicate with them. They have to feel comfortable with talking to you. That's why I have an open door policy. Come talk to me. What we talk about is not going to leave my lips unless you tell me, well, it's okay if you tell such. So I'm not saying anything. And sometimes you have to be a mediator also. As a boss, you got two agents or two employees that's not getting along, you in the middle. You cannot pick sides. You have to be neutral. I tell people to walk it off. If you cannot talk to each other without yelling, don't say anything at all. Walk it, go sit in the corner for a while and calm down. But if you're gonna yell, there's no need for y'all to try to have this conversation. There's no need for me to mediate if you're gonna yell. You're not going to get anything done because I'm that type of person. You yell at me, I'm going to yell at you back. And that's not going to get nothing done. Y'all going to be in a yelling match and we're still in the same situation we was before we came into the office for me to mediate the situation.
I let them yell themselves to sleep almost like a crying child. I'll keep on saying, anything else? You done yet? You made your point? Would you like to keep yelling at me?
Yeah.
And then they've realized, ladies, that maybe they overextended themselves. Maybe their tone was not appropriate. And so maybe inadvertently and passive aggressively, we can allow them almost, as you say, to cry themselves to sleep to where they almost apologize to you for speaking to you that way. And then you go, exactly. Now can we begin again?
Right. And that's like,
because I'd hate to see you stoop to that level. Shouting match, and I'm sure you'd win, but you're better than that. I mean, there's a certain sort of conservative nature that You wouldn't yell in front of your grandparents and parents.
Heck
There's no
no.
way I'm doing it at work either.
Heck no, I don't
Um,
even no, I wouldn't dare do that. And that's why I tell people sometimes you have, like I said, when you have to listen, and a lot of
yeah.
people don't know how to do that. You have to listen to whomever you're speaking with, whomever you're talking to. You have to learn how to, you as the listener, you have to learn how to control your mouth as well, because sometimes your response can trigger something. And
Do you allow them to bring in a notepad during these meetings? Not to take notes, but to organize their notes so they don't forget. You even said you write things
yeah, I
down.
love I
Why
love
don't you
paper.
tell them to come in, write your points down so everyone can calm down? And
Hmm.
then we can go through it a certain way where you say what you need to say. I then take notes to then have
Hmm.
my turn, and
Hmm.
we can just keep addressing. I'm not going to interrupt. You do your thing. I will wait till you're done. And then you,
Hmm.
once again, their tone's going to go from like a 10 to a 2. And then
Basically.
you being Tika and Maria calm and cool, and show them through example how to act appropriately. And then you knowing what they know and having that sort of strategic advantage can pick them apart. You can cut the fat, you can address what's the most important to them. And while they're speaking, then we can choose the sort of vocabulary, as you say, that's more diplomatic to be able to use to transition certain ideas. And it's almost a manipulation. It's almost like talking to a child, because if that's how they're acting, we need to treat them that way.
Mhm.
And unless they're willing to speak to us in a certain mature level, that's a different type of conversation. You're not patronizing, you're not going to be insulting them, but let's do checklist time. You want to yell at me for 10, yell at me for 10, and I'll calm and cool you back 12 because I'm going to
Mhm.
go over your 10, but I got to teach you one or two additional.
Right.
You're going to school. We're definitely going to teach you a lesson.
Right. Yep. And hey, that's half of the battle. Most of the battle anyway. People just have to learn how to, it's a word that I'm looking for. I can't get it out. Um Communicate.
Maybe
That's,
it's just practice.
yep.
It's not just you. Maybe they should be practicing this constantly when they're not at work and they're not on the phone. Active listening skills. You said active listening. They're not doing this. They have a
They're
small
not.
business.
They're
Or they're
not doing
freaked out because Maria and Tika are yelling at them for something. So
it.
naturally, they're distracted. They think they're getting fired and the boss is yelling at them. And so, um, I don't know, maybe set some boundaries in the
And that's
beginning.
something I don't yell. I'm not a yeller. I'm more of
Yeah,
a
but you told me if they yelled at you, it's a yelling
yeah, I
match.
would yell back, but not to my workers. I don't yell
Well,
at them
that's
at
good.
all. But now to my sisters and them, oh yeah, I'm yelling back at them. But to my workers, they yell at me. You need to go calm down. I'm not gonna have this conversation with you. You yelling at me, because I turn into the Incredible Hulk. I don't like people yelling at me. My parents don't even yell at me, you know. So I'm not gonna take it from nobody else. But if my agents are going through something and they yelling at me or think they could, like, they lost their mind, I need you to go in timeout. You need to walk it off, call me later or something.
And they call you and apologize, don't they,
Of
usually?
course,
I know they
because
do.
at the end of the day, I didn't do anything to you for you to be yelling at me.
And you give them a second chance
Of
still.
course, of course.
But then do you also let them know from the ABC after school special of what they
Of,
did wrong?
think I don't. I do that. I do.
Well, that's good.
I do that. So, but I'm definitely going to talk to you more about that at a later time off the air about the more information, because I really do want to, because there's still people out there want to work. There's still people out there that need jobs, but you also got the ones that don't want to work, that want to still do the unemployment. And I'm looking for Stellas. I want to open it to the point where I can get my team leads out here, get me some supervisors, and have a bigger call center. I mean, it's enough money out there for everybody to eat, and I'm trying to give people jobs if they want them.
And you know perfectly well, if somebody's very good on the phone, they can earn more than most vocations. You said most
Mm-hmm.
people are afraid to make outbound calls, but you know perfectly well a hunter eats more meat than a fisherman. I mean, you have much
Mhm.
more chances. The odds are there when you're prospecting compared to waiting. You'll still do well fishing. People sometimes catch a bunch at one time, but anybody that has the guts to make that call and to remember that strangers are friends you haven't met yet.
You know what?
That's
Someone else told me that. I don't know if you remember MCI, the
Mhm.
long distance company we had to sell long distance.
Of course, I competed with them. I sold Frontier, but yeah, tell me the story.
So my cousin was actually my supervisor, and I used to get mad at the phone because we had to make outbound calls to sell long distance. And he said this. He said, "You have to think about it this way. Whether they get this long distance or not, you still gonna get paid the same thing. You cannot see these people. These people cannot see you. You still gonna get paid your hourly wage, whether they buy it or not. You still gonna get paid. So don't let nobody stop your money because of what they said or because they wouldn't buy a product." So I took heed to what he said, had a conversation with myself. After that, I was good. They'd be like, "I did it." And then I left MCI and went to the competitor, which was Verizon.
Mhm.
That was fun. I had fun with Verizon. So yes, I stopped getting mad. That's why I just do my thing. If I got to dial out, I dial out. If they hang up on me, they hang up. Next call.
No,
But
but
I,
after listening to you role play earlier and how you were so well versed, and as I
Mhm.
told you before, there was a certain style that you had that was very effective.
Thank
You're an
you.
advanced telemarketer. You're just not grinding the numbers and getting your metrics. This is somebody that would be excelling.
Mhm.
And so hearing that, it's fun. I once again, you hear an artist of speech. And your audience, they might think telemarketing is interesting or maybe not interesting, but it's more of just being a speaker, a communicator, and from an educated point of view,
Right.
clients make a decision.
Mhm.
So once again, it can be very fulfilling if you work on your craft.
I agree. I definitely agree. I'm gonna be honest. I'm the person that like the inbound calls. I'm more of the inbound person. I'll do the
Everybody
outbound,
does.
but I've learned most outbound calls get you more money than the inbound calls. But I'll do them if I have to. If I don't have to, I'm not doing it. But I'm just being honest with myself.
I always believe if you can explore the cave that everyone's afraid to, all the treasure is yours. And so anytime most people are afraid to do something, you stand up and raise your hand and you say, "It's me. Let me do this."
Mhm.
And that's how legends are made.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I'm gonna try something different. The cable thing, it's a good lucrative, it's a good business. It's just everybody's doing it
Watch
type
out
of
for
thing.
saturation. It could be saturated.
Yes, I want to say something, but I don't want to say it up here. It's a lot of people doing the same thing,
Yes, of course.
and
And
I
what separates you from the next guy? Your charm, your good look. Yeah,
exactly. So
it's price.
I want to do something more challenging, more. It's different selling.
Maria, I got many suggestions. Once we speak off the air, I can suggest multiple verticals that you could
Okay.
start with minimum investment. You'll do just fine.
Not a problem. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry, Richard, we want to thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure speaking with you. We've learned a lot, didn't we, Tika? we,
Absolutely.
we've learned a lot. I would love to have you on the show again and
I would
again
love to
and
come back.
again. Because
Ladies, I had the best time. You're very charming. Look how fast an hour and a half went. And
I
when you come
know,
and visit, imagine how much fun we're going to have doing a podcast here.
I
I
know.
cannot wait.
Tika, we have to take this trip. We'll talk about that off the air as well. um, I'm I'm with all of that.
You ladies are doing wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you.
work. And my entire network here in Costa Rica is going to be thrilled to be introduced to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tika, do
I
you have,
appreciate it, and I definitely look forward to speaking with you more on and off there.
Thank you,
yes.
Lisa. Absolutely.
Yes. Again, let's our guest, Richard Blank. And we'd like to thank you for listening to Sipping with Maria and Tika G, where we do not talk about politics, religions, or celebrities. We feel that there's enough